is true success in life, when you become part of somebody else's testimony. I want to talk to you about taking your business and your life to the next level. Success in business and success in life is greatly dependent upon our ability to influence others in a positive way.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Ability to Influence. And y'all, I am so excited about my guest today. She is a major influencer in the community. She is an aspiring author. She is a speaker, and she is known as the nonprofit Gladiator. So without any further wait, please help me welcome Mary Lee Walker.
Thank you, Steve. Glad to be here today.
Mary Lee, I've been looking forward to this interview for quite some time now. You and I actually met at one of my events last year, and you and I engaged, and you're one of those people, I always talk about people that have the ability to influence and how people walk in the room and they just light up the room with their charisma and their attitude and the way they carry themselves, and just, you have all of that. So obviously, you were somebody I recognized at that event right off the bat. And then of course you engaged in a couple of programs that I was offering, and just watching you blossom over the past year with your business and entrepreneurship and everything has just been exciting to watch. It's been an honor to be part of. And so I'm really looking forward to this interview today. And I know that the people that are watching this right now are going to be equally blessed by hearing from you. So Mary Lee, talk a little bit about, well, first and foremost, let me ask you this. Why do you call yourself the nonprofit Gladiator? There's got to be a story behind that.
Yes, there is a story behind that, Steve, and thank you. I'm very flattered to be on your show, much less your sweet words. You have been a blessing to me. So why do I call myself the nonprofit Gladiator? So this came out of a mastermind session that I did years ago with the facilitator. Had no background in the nonprofit world. So I had to explain to her what it is that I do. I go to battle for my nonprofit organizations. I fight, I train, I defend them. And if anybody has been in front of a citizens review board, they know exactly what I mean by defending. I am very passionate about the nonprofit world. So when she told me, it was like, wow, you're a warrior. I'm like, yeah, I'm a warrior. You're a gladiator. I'm a nonprofit gladiator. So I immediately Googled it. No one else had been using that terminology, nonprofit gladiator. So I went and bought the domain name, and I've been using it as a hashtag ever since. But I tell you, yes, I go by nonprofit gladiator, but I really call myself a nonprofit nerd.
So yes, you have a plethora of knowledge when it comes to nonprofit organizations.
And the anti-Jesus, yes.
Yes. And so how did you get into this though? Take us back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did Mary Lee Walker get into being a consultant to nonprofit organizations?
Well, my story really goes back to my early childhood years, Steve. I was very fortunate to have a stay-at-home mother who was very involved in the community. That was her outlay. And she got us involved, my siblings and I, in the local children's theater group. She was on the board of directors. And I like to say I worked on my first capital campaign in third grade because the troop was looking for its own permanent home. My mom opened up our house. She had little house parties, inviting all the friends and contacts in it, and passed those hors d'oeuvres around. She would actually dress as kids up in costumes. We would do a song and a skit, and the executive director would pitch why the troop needed its own home. So luckily, I had a background in a culture of philanthropy within my family. I had someone who showed me what the joy could be of giving of yourself and building community. Now, of course, I didn't know at the time that I was going to end up doing this career. It wasn't until I got into college when I was learning communication theory. I came across this lady named Dr. Kathleen Kelly. Okay, so it's all theoretical. She did her dissertation shifting the public relations paradigm to encompass fundraising as donor relations. So they tell you when you're doing your master's thesis to find a track to follow. I found this. I was really thinking I was going to go into public relations, but I found this track and I just fell in love with the concept of being able to use my gifts and talents to make a difference in this crazy, mixed up, messed up world that we're in. So I've been able to accomplish that into a career track, mostly fundraising, and then encompass special events, doing grant writing, and just build and annual campaigns. So obviously this is just something that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, it's obvious without a shadow of a doubt that you're passionate about it. And matter of fact, you are so passionate about it that you are an award-winning speaker. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I am so thrilled. I use that story of my mother in the children's theater as a basics for the speech that I gave for the Speak Like a Boss seminars that you offer. And I am so very grateful. Yes, I won the award. Oh!
You are the Speak Like a Boss champion. And so,
Yeah, that's right. That's
so
right.
guys, listen, what we're talking about right now is I actually do a boot camp called Speak Like a Boss. I bring speakers in, they spend 90 days with me and they compete at the end of that 90 days. And one winner gets an opportunity, wins a trophy, and also gets an opportunity to speak on stage at one of my events in the upcoming year. And Mary Lee was our recent winner of the Speak Like a Boss competition. So she will be speaking at a Steve Hopper event in 2021, no doubt about it. But Mary Lee, so talk a little bit about what's the difference, educate everybody a little bit on what's the difference between nonprofit and for-profit. Like what's the key difference between an organization that decides to go nonprofit or for-profit?
So nonprofit 501c is a tax status. That is the major difference in as far as legality wise. It's a corporation. You have a tax status. Now, in a for-profit business, you have shareholders, you have stock owners, and any profits are distributed to those stockholders. In the nonprofit world, you don't have ownership. You have governors or board directors who oversee the nonprofit organization, and any profits that are made go back into the mission. So nonprofits bridge the gap between what the for-profit business sector won't produce for whatever reason and what the governmental sector can't provide. The nonprofit sector bridges that gap.
Awesome. Awesome. So talk a little bit about, right now we're in some interesting times, right? We have COVID-19. I know traditional businesses are struggling to a great extent. People are being laid off from jobs. And, I know just across the board, everybody's being affected by this in some way, shape, or form. And I would assume that nonprofit organizations are probably taking a hit right now as well, struggling a little bit, maybe with their donors, continuing their donations, etc., or fundraising for that matter. I know a lot of nonprofit organizations that I've worked with, they do these big events and these big dinners and
all canceled.
All canceled. what advice give for any of our nonprofit organizations that are tuning in, watching this? And guys, if you know somebody that runs a nonprofit organization, make sure that you forward this video to them, tag them down in the comments section so that they can take a look at this as well, because I know that, again, the nonprofit Gladiator here has a plethora of knowledge when it comes to this. What advice, Mary Lee, could you give to nonprofit organizations right now? What are a few tips that you could give them to help them not only survive through these times, but to actually thrive in these times? What advice would you give? What are a few things that they should be doing right now?
Well, it is an understatement that everybody is struggling. Yes, donations are down. Number one thing I suggest is don't assume people don't have money. So pivot that and say it as people do still have money. Those with wealth capacity to give to your nonprofit organization still have that capacity. So in the business world, you've heard the Parada principle, the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your money, your energy comes from 20% of your sources. In the nonprofit world, it's more like 90-10. 90% of your donations will come from 10% of your sources. So the second thing, knowing that, you need to focus on your core. Because those people, they are your friends. They are your best friends. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that are going to sustain your organization. And yeah, even though they may be struggling themselves, but if you steward them and let them know how much you appreciate them and how much you and their organization, what their funding will come to is the impact they are making for your organization through this trying time. If you continue with that, you will see results and you will be able to come out on the other end of this mess in a stronger situation because you have stewarded your core supporters. Those supporters are your major donors, your major funding sources, and your board of directors. Your board of directors right now are those ambassadors for your organization. Make sure that they have the toolkits they need because they are your ambassadors into the community.
Absolutely. Nurture that network. Nurture it.
That's it.
So talk a little bit about marketing for these nonprofit organizations. Like when you're working with these organizations, what are some of the strategies? I know that obviously a lot of organizations are having to utilize the internet right now in a big way, like most companies are. What advice do you have? Because one of the things that I don't see a lot of ask taking place from nonprofit organizations. As I'm scrolling through my social media right now, I don't see a lot of nonprofit organizations that are dropping content, delivering content within the social media.
Stab me in the heart.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what they need to be doing right now. Showing up. They need to be showing up on social media strong right now. And video is king right now. You got to show impact. Your executive directors need to get off behind their desk and get on the internet. Your executive directors are the visionary leaders of your nonprofit organization, and people want to see the face of your organization. Hey, you may not have cute puppies and cute kids to sell as your impact, whatever you're making as an impact of whatever your mission of your organization is, but you have a base support that supports your organization, has supported your organization. There again, they are your friends. They need to be reached out to on social media, make it as personalized as possible. But video is so strong right now. People's attention spans are like that.
Yeah.
And it needs to be short and quick. and show impact, tell stories.
Yeah.
People want to bring it down to that one common denominator. There's a reason why these commercials go, look into the eyes of the child. How can one cup of coffee a day can feed this child too. So
Right.
bringing it down to that 1% level and bring it back to those smaller dominations. And I tell you, monthly giving is key right now to sustainability.
Yeah.
Emphasize monthly giving in your appeals, because here again, you made $10 for a month, but that equals to $120, and over a lifespan of a donor, that could equal to thousands of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Sometimes less is more, right?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
excuse me. So, one of the things that you and I have been working on together is taking some of this knowledge that you have and making it more accessible to the masses. Obviously, you're located here in Tampa, Florida. So the nonprofit organizations here in Tampa, Florida, they are blessed with the opportunity to have you right here with them, to work with them. And your consulting business is extremely successful. And I know that you've got some different consulting packages available that you offer to nonprofit organizations to work with them and help them grow to the next level. But you've been working on taking this knowledge, this expertise that you have in, basically the procedures and the things that nonprofit organizations should be doing and thinking about and working on and structuring and just, all of the above. And you're putting it online in a online course that they can have access to and go through, right? So
Yes. So what you're talking about is my DIY development audit. So a development audit is an assessment tool. It takes a hard look at what you're doing, your procedures, your standard operating procedures, your everyday activities, and your strategic planning of these. And there's a checklist in it. Plus, there's also a worksheet. And I start with the why. Why are you doing this? Building the case statement support. So the DIY audit asks the hard questions that you need to be asking yourself as a nonprofit executive or a board member about the organizational structure. Are you pivoting at this point in time? Are you meeting the needs of your constituency? And constituency is just a big word for supporters. Are you meeting the needs of where your mission and that sweet spot between what is need in the organization, what donors are willing to give, and what your mission wants to be about? So it's all focused really hardcore on those hard questions that you need to ask yourself in order to be in a position to make the ask, and supporting that concept of why you should be giving to your organization.
Awesome. So is it safe to say that a nonprofit organization that takes this course or goes through this course could substantially make some huge differences in their organization that's going to benefit them in a positive way, financially, structurally, all of that kind of stuff?
Oh, absolutely, Steve. So not only do you get in this DIY development audit 6 modules, workbook modules that you can go through, but I provide this in a private Facebook group. So each unit of the module has videos that has me walking you through the process. You are not alone at this process. So not only do I walk you through it, but I also provide live Q&As for us to go through whatever specific issue or whatever you're struggling with. And of course, I throw in a free coaching session with me so we can continue to work and build upon that progress that you are making. I'm very excited about this project because I know anyone who goes through it will come out on the other side of it a stronger structural organization.
That's awesome. So where can they go to find out more about this amazing program that you're offering?
My website, nonprofitgladiator.org.
Nonprofitgladiator.org. Awesome. So everybody listen, again, make sure that you take this interview, you forward it out to some people that you know that are in the nonprofit world. They need to know Mary Lee Walker. They need to know the Nonprofit Gladiator, and some of them desperately need to talk to her sooner than later. In the times that we're in right now. So Mary Lee, you're also an aspiring author because Steve Hopper is hounding you to get a book done. So talk a little bit about that for a second.
Oh, Steve, I must admit, your program has been awesome. It has really given me a structure to work on the book. The book, I take a lot of truths that I have learned over, I don't want to say how many years. I'm a woman of a certain age, right? And let's face it, I've been through some hard times, just to put it, struggles in this journey of this life. So I have taken some of these truths and learned, have put into this book, and I have specifically taken the stance of making it personal because I am writing this for my granddaughter. I want her to know who I was as a young girl, how that shaped me and through college and as a young adult, and become this nonprofit gladiator, nonprofit nerd that I am. And the more importantly is the truths that I have learned through life that I have brought, and I do weave in through the story nonprofit principles and some of the lessons career lessons that I've learned, career mistakes that I've learned, and some of the high points as well. Because I want to know who I am, but I generalize this because I want this for other people to learn about my story that'll help them influence in their lives as well.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Well, I know that we're going to keep everybody updated on when that book is going to be coming out and being released and all of that good stuff. So I just wanted to speak it into existence right here live so that you are going to be, you're going to be held to get her done. So,
get her done.
So Mary Lee, I got one last question for you. Obviously, as you just mentioned a few moments ago, you've got a lot of life experience. You've got a lot of knowledge, not only in business and the nonprofit world, but in life in general. What do you say is the number one trait that somebody should have if they want to be a person that has the ability to influence other people?
You know what? Find something you're passionate about and go for it. Even if it doesn't seem like that you want to, don't pursue money, right? Don't pursue just financial gain. Pursue something that hits your heart. Find whatever that is and follow it and keep at it. Keep at it. And that that enthusiasm, that passion will filter out to all that know you.
Let there be a deeper meaning to your existence. I love it.
Exactly.
Phenomenal advice. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you cannot be a person of influence if you do not have passion, right? So, guys, the Nonprofit Gladiator, Mary Lee Walker, make sure you connect with her. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you go to nonprofitgladiator.org, right?
Yes.
Is it the nonprofitgladiator.org or nonprofitgladiator?
Nonprofitgladiator.org.
Nonprofitgladiator.org. Go connect with her. She is an amazing individual, and we survived this storm. Obviously, we can hear the thunder over there on your end. So we're glad the internet held out on us to get this done. But anyways, Mary Lee, it's been a blessing to have you with me today, and I know that I continue to be excited and honored to watch you go out there and impact people the way that you have been. And for those of you that are watching as well, you know, your time is one of those assets, y'all, that you can never get back. And you gave some of that precious time to us today, and we love you for it. So God bless you, and we will see you guys soon.
Thank you, Steve. It is my honor to know you, and much less be on this podcast. Blessings all.
That is true success in life, when you become part of somebody else's testimony. I want to talk to you about taking your business and your life to the next level. Success in business and success in life is greatly dependent upon our ability to influence others in a positive way.